Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on A World Awakening. And oh my, what an awakening it has been. The stars are aligned tonight. You can go outside if you live in a place where it's clear enough to see all the planets of our solar system at one time. It's a rare event. It's referred to as a cosmic convergence, but it's something more than that, I think. And we are in the midst of the paradigm shift. I have spoken about this ad infinitum. There's the missing cat. Did you just see the missing cat and my sister's new rug that I got her for her birthday? Yeah. So anyway, I'll text my sister and tell her missing cat showed up. This is 2 weeks in a row. Remember Bill last week? Yeah, last week. Same thing. She just shows up out of nowhere. I swear. I'm not quite sure that she's of this earth, if you know what I mean. Cats. I'm pretty sure cats are aliens. I'm pretty sure cats are aliens, Bill. I'm pretty freaking sure of it.
She's right behind you, behind the recliner.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. I'm letting Chris know. Chris has been in a panic again last Friday night and this Friday night. Where's Mama Kitty? Where is she? Where is she? She just shows up.
I think the alignment and Laura being on is
and Laura coming on. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Have a great show, both of you.
Okay. Love you so much.
Everybody watching.
Okay. Oh, there she is. Mama Kits. Come here, baby. There's my baby. Yeah, and I got my peanut. Okay, so yeah, I'm surrounded with animals, which is my happy state. I am in a great place. Right now, hold on. I got to send this to my poor sister. She's like, "Where's my cat?" Mama Kitty. Okay, I'm sorry to do this to you folks, but I just had to. There. Okay, now she knows. She's in the back of the house in her room hiding out. And I'm sure Mama will find her way to her. Yeah, so anyway, tonight I have a dear friend of mine who has touched my heart and been a real inspiration to me. And so without further ado, I would really like to welcome my dear Laura Walker to A World Awakening. Hello, darling.
Oh, hey, how are you? This is such a great pleasure. Hi, everybody. Hey.
Well, I told you before you come on, anything can happen. It's a casual affair. Any animal could just pop up in my lap at any moment. We just don't know what's going to happen next. And that's part of the enjoyment of it. We just finished an episode of Soul School. Class is in session, class is dismissed, and yet we live in a perpetual state of learning and growing and evolving and achieving, and that's our connection.
Yes.
So I want you to do me the favor and the pleasure of introducing yourself to our viewing audience tonight and give them a little bit of your background in case they didn't read your bio attached to the show.
Okay. Well, I have a background in law enforcement. I was former deputy sheriff for the city of Hampton, and I also went from there into a corporate world of law enforcement where I worked with the HSBC company, the banking company. I ran the Chesapeake Bay and the Virginia Beach and London, Kentucky sites where I dealt with actual criminal activity through a call center. Then I got involved in martial arts, I want to say middle age, like in the 30s. And I'm 29 years I've been doing martial arts. I'm a teacher, I'm a master instructor, and also I have experienced all my life a whole bunch of strangeness. The list goes on. Yeah. And I'm also an experiencer. I've had close encounters with a UFO, and I consider everything that I'm experiencing now more and more that I am a contactee. I know this to be real. It is Andrea Perrin. It is her, guys. Okay. First
Cheers.
of all, doesn't she look good? Okay. Does she not look good? She is the most awesome person I have ever met.
Thank you.
I owe what I'm about to say to you. These are heavy. Oh, look, guys. Look. I got Valentine's Day present, right? Oh my God, you got to get the books, okay? Yes, they're hard read, but you got to do it. The Conjuring movie was the beginning 2 years ago that I got introduced to a world that I needed to be in to help me succeed in my gifts. And it's amazing how all of this just takes place. It's like one gigantic circle. My martial arts and the Conjuring, the books, and Andrea Perrin. What in the world is all of martial arts and Andrea Perrin? What is all that got in common? Well, it's the journey and the connection of what I went through before actually meeting her, learning how to meditate, learning to work with energy. You do this through the type of martial arts that I do. And that practice opened up my gifts and my mind even clearer. But then I didn't know what to do because I'm at this crossroad. I'm like really lost here because I'm seeing things all the time. I'm hearing things all the time. I've got things going on that I cannot really explain. I'm not fearful of it, but I don't know what really more to do. And whenever I did try to come out and speak, it's, we don't talk about stuff like that. You know, I was shunned down. I was hushed up. So I literally started suppressing myself. And
then you internalize it. And that is actually self-destructive. I think, Laura, I have to say, I published my first volume of the trilogy in 2011. And I didn't know if there was going to be an audience for the book. The movie was still in pre-production. And so everybody that was associated with the film, I gave access to my material, even as I was, preparing to published one in 2011 and then 2012. And then right after the movie opened up, I published the third volume, but I let everyone, all the executive producers, the screenwriters, everyone that was associated with the film had access to the story, and they were afraid of it. They didn't want to tell it. They rewrote, they based it on the case files of Ed and Lorraine Warren, certainly not on my books. They said it was too intense. It was too much. People weren't going to be able to handle it. It would scare them away. What I have discovered in all these years is that the story is liberating, and it frees people to speak their own truth, to tell their own stories. They're no longer afraid. After they read our story and what my family endured for 10 years in that colonial farmhouse, it freed them. It is a liberating experience to spiritually evolve, to not only have questions answered, but more to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, 2 years ago, it was the same day. I'm going to first get this straight. I don't like the word hate. I really don't like using that term. I do not like at all horror movies. Can't.
Only one I have ever seen is The Conjuring, and it's because I had to. Literally, because I don't put that stuff in my brain. I don't.
Right. I don't either. I don't want to entertain it because of things that I see. That's one of the reasons why I don't want to entertain it. But this Friday, it was an early afternoon. I ended up watching it for some reason. It came on, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, why am I watching this horror movie? I'm going to have nightmares. What am I doing? But it kept popping up. The Perrin family, based on a true story. It kept getting me more and more intrigued, at the end of the movie, it ran credits and it was pictures of your family and showing you based on a true story. And I immediately picked up my phone and I punched in the, parent family, and YouTube popped up. And there was this little snippet of you doing a presentation about your book and The Conjuring. And then thereafter was Soul School Soldier and A World Awakening. And that same night, and it's so ironic, that same night, I started watching this, and the synchronicities, the things you were saying, I found, and I'll say it, it's just like what the show you just did, Are There Real Angels? I found my angel who opened up that door, and I ended up walking through it. Now, I have not met you on a personal basis where we've actually been able to hug and connect and
that
touch.
will happen, but
But
happen.
Yeah, but we have met many, many times on Zoom meetings, and we've been doing meditations together, and you've done Q&A sessions, and you have made me understand, help me understand further what's happening with me. And in other words, you just showed me the light of like, look, just embrace what's going on.
And I have encouraged you. Yes, I have to pursue this.
Yeah.
Because you are incredibly gifted. I have seen it over and over and over again. You have an aura of light around you that is literally visible to me. Even when I'm struggling with my sight, I don't struggle to see your light. It's there.
Oh my goodness, you're so sweet. Oh my God. Now I'm embarrassed.
No, don't be. I brought tissues for you in case.
Oh, honey, look, I'm a baller.
Yeah. Okay. I own stock in Kleenex for a reason.
I should invest myself.
That's the only lie I'll tell tonight.
Oh, but your encouragement has done something more. Being involved with you has done something far more. The connection that we've have. My gifts have evolved. I didn't just walk through a threshold. I literally just decided, what the hell? I jumped in right into it, and things have just changed, more and more evolved. The last time that we had a meeting together, I'm not going to say what happened, but oh my goodness gracious, I got the shock of my life. I experienced something that you experienced, and I know it was real. And I also got another surprise, which I had asked prior, if anything, if I am capable of helping, that it would be something, there would be a word or there'd be a term that only Andrea would know. And that one word, when it was over and over in my head, daughter. And I'm just, I got very emotional because of the type of energy that it was. And also having to actually experience something that you've experienced. That's what I'm talking about. The increases of this ability, my abilities. I'm still trying. Look, I don't know everything. I will never try to say.
None of us will ever know everything, not on this plane of action. We will not.
No, I cannot give you answers. I don't know how this is working. I cannot tell you. If I did, honestly, I was looking, if I could look for an actual book that tells you this is how it goes, that little manual, I'd be reading that baby quick. But yeah. I don't. But I've experienced so much in the 2 years that I have been doing and watching Soul School Soldier and A World Awakening. You've introduced me to so many people, like our good friend Rupert. I mean, I've done stuff with MUFON here recently. I've actually done remote viewing for them, and I've just it's just constantly it's just going more and more and more, and I took that next step. So I do help people at our studio, our school. I do help them. I do a lot private, and I do group meditations. I do this in a setting for either rejuvenation, reset, in a group setting. Also, if the person has something they would like to try to achieve, and others will call this manifesting it, like a diet, weight loss, job increase, raise of money, whatever it may be. I also do meditational work with them for that. And in the meantime, I do energy work. And when I do energy work, I do taking of negativity, of course. If anybody knows anything about Reiki, I did study it. People don't understand key energy, because that's what I've been doing for 29 years, is key energy, learning how to move it from the body, through the body.
Isn't that really kind of centered in the solar plexus?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because I didn't even tell you this, but when I went to a private women's college, Chatham College in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And during the first year, I think I was a freshman, maybe a sophomore, there were a couple of attacks on campus. And the whole student body, there were only 500 women on campus. And the whole student body went into this fear mode where we wouldn't go anywhere. It was a very big, sprawling, very a rural campus in a city, I guess is the best way to describe it. And we all lived in mansions. We lived in the Mellon Mansion and the Carnegie Mansion. And I mean, all the oil barons and the steel mill owners, they all created the Pennsylvania College for Women in 1869 because there were no schools for their daughters. So they gave up their homes and created a college that then later became Chatham College, named after William Penn, the Earl of Chatham.
Oh.
And there were a couple of attacks on campus, and the whole energy field of that place changed suddenly. And so I went to the dean of students, and then I went to the college president, and I said, we need to do something about this. This went from being a place of joy to a place of fear, literally overnight. We have to do something about it. I said, I think that we need to bring some coursework onto campus, and seminars that deal specifically with self-protection, and we need to start studying karate or whatever, judo, whatever, so that we can protect ourselves, so that we can walk across our campus at night and not be fearful ever again, because we'll take the son of a bitch down. First on the knees and then a punch to the throat will usually do it. And I was adamant, and within a month, I'm having an eye thing. Within a month, the gymnasium was set up as a school for martial arts.
What year was this?
1976.
That is rare.
Yeah,
it's hard to get martial arts in a school system. Yeah, it really, truly,
and
is
all women with a woman instructor.
Whoa!
And she was kick ass. I do mean to tell you. And then some of us started going to a school that was just off campus. That was, the full boat. You could literally study anything that you wanted in the martial arts. And I got pretty damn good at it. I really did. I am a very, very strong woman. And
I see it in you.
Yeah.
I told you the other day I got some gloves, baby.
And then years and years later, I worked where I had to study self-defense and restraint training. I worked in a school for behaviorally disordered adolescent boys. And some of those boys were way bigger than me. And I had to learn quickly how to, for their own protection, take one of them to the ground and hold them there until help would arrive. We had panic buttons that we wore on our belts so that if we hit it, every other staff member knew there was a problem in this unit or that unit, and they all came. And I did that for 10 years. So there's an awful lot to be said for claiming your own power and protecting yourself. And I applaud you for what you have done, but for how many lives you have changed, and particularly how many women you have empowered so that we are the victor and not the victims.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot to me, because when I teach martial arts, I teach them not just the motion, not just the action. I teach them the why. Why are you doing this? And when you know the why, you understand what you're doing. And I also teach them the consequence of what you're doing. You have to be responsible for it. Whenever you defend yourself, you have to understand you are going to answer for it, and you will stand before a judge, most likely, depending on the outcome of what you've done, even if you had no choice but to defend yourself. And I teach on that. I take what I do very seriously. And it's the same thing with my gifts. I'd never blurt out anything. I just seem to know more now. Don't speak. People will come to me. It's amazing how that happens. The attraction of who needs to hear something or needs to help for meditation.
Yes.
They come to me. But I animately, when I teach the martial arts, I make sure that even my smallest of students, whom are 4 years old, they understand when they get a nunchuck in there. And I put nunchucks in their hands.
Oof.
I do.
Those are weapons. Yeah.
Yes, I teach them. It's soft. They have the soft ones so that they're trainers for them. Is this real? And they'll go, yes, ma'am. Yes. Do you realize why it's real? Why do I say that? Is it a toy? And then they eventually can recite back to me, well, yes, it's real, because when you sling it, it still can hit you in the eye or hit you in the head or hit somebody else and cause a bruise or a bump. So they're real. They're not toys. So I'm real animate when I do teach. And I thank you very much for that statement. It means a lot to me. Martial arts for women, it's for them to stay in, and as long as I have, that's a rare thing.
It is.
It's super rare. I wish that they would teach it and place it in the schools, because there would be less fighting. And a lot of people disagree with that, but it is a fact.
Oh, absolutely. It absolutely. If everyone feels like everyone else understands how to use their own self-protective techniques, it really almost forms, if this makes sense to you, it's like having a protective bubble over you. I mean, not only do you know how to protect yourself in an attack of any kind of violence, even if it's coming from behind you, because you develop a sensory perception that goes along with it.
Yes.
But you also develop that attitude of
confidence.
Not fuck with me.
Yeah.
Do
that's confidence.
not. And that stops things from happening. It's almost like you're putting off an energy that it's impenetrable. You know how we've talked about being exposed to the darkness.
Yes.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
And I always say, be that light. Be the light that you see. It shatters the darkness. It eliminates it. I mean, nothing dark, no dark energy will come near me. Yeah. It doesn't dare, because it knows that it will be vanquished. It knows it. And so it doesn't even bother.
Right.
And so it's all the same thing. Everything is energy. Everything is one thing. It's energy. And when you are able to harness that and manifest your own hands-off approach to the world, You can go anywhere, you can do anything, you can feel confident, you can feel safe, and you can feel empowered.
Yes.
And it reduces incidents that some would say it would actually promote. It
Exactly.
doesn't. It works absolutely in the reverse.
Right. And that's what martial arts teaches, the
Yeah.
confidence. Now, confidence comes out, like you say, like a bubble. And people will look at you and go, I don't know, something about that person. I don't know what it is. But especially if the person has bad intent, they walk the other way. They just go, I don't know. And see, that confidence, that same confidence is part of even in my gifts. And that's with the meditations that I do with it. We move breath. So breath work is also part of what I do with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we're interacting in the meditation, you really do have to have a fit. What I mean that can you relax with the person you're with?
Mm-hmm.
You know, can you give them just a little bit of time to find out if you're going to be able to really trust and relax, and then not worry so much about what's going to happen, what am I going to experience, to just let the process happen, because you're now connecting with that person and building that confidence over the years with the meditation, and then learning that I can move energy and that I can heal people with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I restarted rethinking. In other words, my cup got really full and I dumped my cup out to refill my cup again, because I really started realizing I need to establish a little bit better about what I'm doing here. So I discovered in my confidence of doing what I do, I'm not the healer. I'm not doing this. The person who consents to wanting to be healed, wanting to receive this energy, the energy comes from source. The energy comes from the universe. Everything, like you said, is energy. And I'm the conduit. I'm just open gate. I allow it to flow. Their spirit guides, my spirit guides, even extraterrestrial beings and other angels, which I do agree with you. I do believe that their entity, they're
A race all their own. Yes.
yes, I do
And
agree
close to what we call source energy or God
Yes.
consciousness, or it's the only way that it's the only plausible explanation for me.
Yeah, and I see that. I agree with you for having when they come in to help. And it's in that moment where I'm guided to where I need to go.
Mhm.
Like, I can feel that. I'm
Yeah.
guided to where I need to go. And I just do what I'm said. And then all of a sudden, sometimes they want to speak and I'll start to channel a message or something like that.
And you
So-
know when that's happening, when something comes out of your mouth that you did not consciously think of before you said it. It just used
Came
you
out.
to come out. Yes, it happens to me. When I'm lecturing, it happens so frequently that people will come up to me after a lecture and they'll want to discuss certain points that I had made during the lecture, and I don't remember saying it. So they'll have to repeat to me what I said. And then, I can go into the conversation and get more in depth, but I don't remember saying it because I wasn't the one that said it. It came through me and out to them. And inevitably, you know this as well as I do, inevitably, you're going to say something that's going to change another person's life.
Without fail.
Yep.
Without fail.
Yep.
And I'll say it again, without fail, because it happens every single time I get a just spontaneous, like explosive reaction.
Yeah. Because they're in that room to hear that.
Yeah.
On purpose. They were attracted. They didn't just stumble into one of your classes. They came deliberately because there was a message that they needed to hear. And when I first started the show, Laura, years and years ago, I started just as an audio podcast, A World Awakening, with my friend George Lopez. And every week someone would write to me and say, oh my God, I just opened up Blog Talk tonight and there you were, and I never knew who you were. I never knew that this show existed. I was like magnetically drawn to you, and you said something that I needed to hear that changed everything. You
And
know,
that's
it's a wonderful, joyful thing. Do you also feel that the more you give of your gifts, the more you get back?
I
That
do.
it's part of your growth process?
Yes.
Yeah, because I do too. It just makes a world of difference to me, you know, to go to these events and just to embrace someone, physically hold them in my arms, and the exchange of energy is so profound. And you know, I've often said that the three most powerful words in this language or any other are I love you,
Mm.
but also I believe you. And
Mhm.
people will come up to me and tell me things that they have never told anyone about, powerful experiences that they have had, maybe even as a child, that they've held inside them their whole life until they know they're with someone who is trustworthy.
I
And
know
who,
what that's like, and that's awful to carry. That
yeah,
you're
it
holding
is. It's a burden to carry. And
it.
I just lean over and I hold them, and usually they're crying. And
Mhm.
I whisper, I believe you. Give me your pain. I will not hold on to it. It will not become my burden. It will disperse into the ether in a split second. Give me your pain, as though you are giving me the greatest gift, so that you can be free, so that you can be liberated from it. It is the most profound, most significant coupling of energy and
Mhm.
release of energy that is, it's amazing. It is what I love most about what I do. It is.
Um, when you're healing somebody, you're the channeler. You're channeling this energy, but afterwards, um, I realize that I've received a form of healing too through that process. Thing that I must keep in mind and always keep a balance. I got to have the balance. And so there are many times I've worked with somebody, and we all, wherever we go, there's energy. And people, especially people, you can be around some folks and their energy
Yeah.
attaches onto you, and it
Oh, yeah.
just
They're energy vampires.
oh
They
my.
will suck the air right out of your lungs. They will, like draining your body of blood. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. So I have to have a balance and
And
grounding.
boundaries. You have to create boundaries, and you know, be self-protective. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I teach people that they can do the same thing, like by meditation, to ground themselves
Mhm.
when they've got a bad day at work, and maybe they can't go to somebody to meditate and or do Reiki or whatever or key energy work, but to actually sit down and learn to ground themselves and release this. Because
Mhm.
once we learn the function of energy, how we're actually working in unison with our body. But then, if like I'm near an electronic device, I can tell when it's on without being around knowing that it got cut on. I know I can
Mhm.
feel the frequency coming off of the device. So, when you're being bombarded like that, you want to get yourself clean and fresh, and
Mhm.
it just
Clear. Yep. Clear
resets.
that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's all of this, everything that I've done all my life. Um, I've only a few very close to me in my family know of my gifts. The other members, no, they don't. I don't want to offend folks that have their religious beliefs. Um, I can say I was really privileged with my parents. They said I went to school, Bible school. I went to church. I'm Baptist, Southern Baptist. All that I grew up. That mom made us go, but I got to work 6 days a week, so I cannot go on Sundays. And this was my father speaking to me. And he says, you have a choice. I will take you to church or you don't have to go. And this is me as a kid. Of course, I'm a kid. I chose not to go. I'm grateful that my parents gave me that choice. I know a lot of people won't agree to some type of upbringing like that, but I'm grateful. And the reason why is my parents didn't force their teachings that they were taught on me about religion. My dad specifically said, this is your freedom of choice. You can go or not go. You know, we will give you, and they did. They gave me Bible stories and things like that. I went to the summer vacation Bible school, but I didn't get, I want to say,
you were not indoctrinated in
yes, I don't want to offend anybody.
Are.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and to that point, what I learned in terms of my own self-protective techniques, you know, whether it was karate or restraint training or whatever, that is so deeply ingrained in me that it functions as a reflex in my life. I mean, if I were in a position where I were being in any way threatened, I wouldn't have to think about it consciously. My body would just simply do it. The same is true when, I mean, we learn by repetition, of course. Training is repetition.
Same thing with meditation. You got to repeatedly try it. You've got to do it.
Until it literally becomes part of you, until you absorb it into your persona in such a way that it becomes a part of who you are. The same is true for spirituality. And if you are a child who, like I went to CCD classes, we were born and raised Catholic. It was every week our family went to church together every week. It wasn't until we moved to the farm and word started getting around that that's the family that lives in the haunted house. And, you know, and then there was an incident with my baby sister, rest her soul, in church. And the priest said, and the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And April looked at Mom and she said, Mom, see, God has ghosts just like we do. In her big girl outdoor voice. She was 7. And the priest followed us out and said to my father, Mr. Perrin, please take your family and worship elsewhere. Well, my father was devastated. And my mother said, because he was, you know, born and raised Catholic, went to parochial school. He just, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that, you know, at a time that he felt that our family needed our faith the most, he was being kicked to the curb because it didn't jive with all the stuff that we had to memorize as children, the creed, the doctrine, the dogma, the prayers, the this, the that, you know, and that was ingrained. And, you know, I've considered myself a recovering Catholic since that time, since I was just a child. And yet every Christmas I watch midnight mass from Rome. Every night I keep Pope Francis in my prayers. It's a part of who I am.
Yes.
And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed. You know, Rupert and I were like with that because he believes in science.
Right.
Period. And that works for him. But science isn't going to heal this vessel alone. Grateful for it. But it is my deep and abiding faith and connection with a higher power, a power that we each embody. Call it Christ consciousness, call it whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you name it. It's all the same thing. One of the questions that I had for you tonight, and it came to me like just before we came on the air, Have you ever been referred to as a witch?
Yes.
Okay.
A
Did
crazy
you know?
witch.
Do you know that you're a practitioner, that you
Yeah.
practice manipulating energy, and that is what witchcraft is?
Yes, I've had
Okay.
somebody jump because they realized one day I I was doing something on the mat. I have a thing that start happening to me when I know somebody needs a little bit of energy, like they've pulled a muscle or something. And so I
Mhm.
start really, it starts with the hands. And when I started doing like this, and I started to approach, and I this was another student, and they agreed. And the other person goes, and they were on the other side of the wall, go, you know that's witchcraft. You're just doing witchcraft.
Yeah.
And I'm looking
But
at them,
identifying it, yeah.
oh my God. And so I stopped because I didn't want to draw attention to anything. But yes, yes. And to me, it's all white light. It's the same thing as what Jesus did. Did he not use his hands?
Yes.
Did he not teach to do that himself? Did he not teach
Healing
to
hands.
meditate?
Yes.
Did he not teach to love unconditionally, no matter what or who or where you come from or what you are or what you're about? Just blows my mind. And this is why I was saying about me not going to church, is that I've gone to church. I did seek many churches because I went through a spiritual walk trying to figure out God, because the whole time I'm being bashed. You're a sinner and you're going to die and burn in hell because you don't believe my way or the way of that congregation.
Right.
And I've also been told in the church that, when I've asked questions, about spirit, and well, you don't talk about that. But wait a minute. What are you teaching on then? So I have the benefit of not having to go through what some people might go through. I'm not saying everyone, some might, when we have our beautiful galactic friends right there, sitting at our eyesight, right up in the heavens here, walking among us. Their world is going to flip.
Yeah.
I don't know everything, and like I said before,
None
especially
of us do.
I just don't.
Yeah, you need to run in the opposite direction when you come across somebody that tells you they're the world's leading authority on any of this. Because not only are they living in bad faith and lying to themselves, they're lying to you too.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, it's just all the stuff that I've experienced in the last 2 years have grown phenomenally. And my growth from not really being my childhood and always having a knowing of things, don't know why, but I always did. And
Yeah.
at 14 years old, there's this, I'm in the Kentucky, in Long Fork, Kentucky, in a holler in the Smoky Mountains. We were at a family reunion. This is in 1979. I'm 14 years old, and this craft just shows up, and it's like, this is how slow it's moving. I can see everything about it. The water stopped, the creek bed stopped moving, the wind stopped moving, the crickets stopped.
Everything goes silent.
It became
Absolutely silent.
totally silent. Even like my ears had this hum sound to it. And I remember looking up, like, what in the world? And I could see it. And what, to me, because my father worked for civil service, he worked on aircraft carriers and submarines and stuff like that, for the U.S. Navy and civil service work. And as I'm looking at this thing going, this can't be happening. It looks like an aircraft carrier. That was the only thing I can associate at the size of it and what it actually is.
Massive. Yeah.
So
I saw one when I was 13.
my God. But there's something that I don't know, is when it reached a point, I don't remember much until
because okay, how to tell you this? Your body.
Bill tells us we got to go.
Yeah, no, I just checked. We're good. I'm not positive, because I've had, when I was my first conscious contact was with a massive vessel, massive. that looked like, you described it as an aircraft carrier. What I saw was what looked like an upside down city. And
Wow.
it was completely surrounded by equidistant, matching, smaller vessels that seemed to be escorting it. And it passed right over the farm. And I had lost time. I felt every emotion except fear. Every emotion except fear. And I stared at it and I watched it as it moved so slowly that had it been something that we created, it would have fallen from the sky. And instead, I saw the shadow pass over it, blocked out the sun. It was so big. And then I stared at it like this was the most incredible experience of my life. And my next memory was being inside the house, looking out the window to see if it was still over the house. And my mother asking me what I was looking at, and I didn't answer her. Now, I was raised to be a very polite child. You answer questions that your parents ask you. No, period. I didn't have an answer for her. I couldn't answer her. And I didn't tell her for quite some time until we saw vessels behind the house together when we were doing dishes in the pantry. And we had no reason to put curtains on those windows.
Right.
I mean, nobody could see. We had no neighbors. We had 200 acres of land. So we just left curtains off the windows in the pantry. And we're doing dishes and we're looking out. And she's like, what is that? And our whole family ended up gravitating outside. Nobody knows why. They followed us out into the yard. But all 7 of us were outside watching this happen.
Wow.
At night with 3 vessels that were zoom, zoom, zoom across vast stretches of sky. And then they all came together in a glowing ball as though they were having a meeting of the minds. And then boom, in 3 different directions, they were gone. And all they left behind was the streak of light because they were moving so fast. I know. And I was a kid. I was just a kid. And you know what? It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Ever.
Oh, yeah,
Ever. Because
it was crazy for me.
It didn't just expand my consciousness. It deepened my understanding that we are not alone in the universe.
Oh,
We're not alone in the universe. And I don't know why I was chosen or my family was chosen or why it happened at the haunted house instead of, and maybe it did happen when I was littler. I used to go out and out in the snow and bare feet and go like I was called outside and would go sit in our swing set in Cumberland and just swing and sing to them as like a 4 and 5, 6-year-old child and be singing to them until one of my parents noticed I was out of the house and it was, 30 degrees outside and I was in my jammies singing to the sky. It's okay to be a weirdo. The etymology of the word weird comes from Middle English. WYRD is how it was spelled. And what that word's definition was and why it was developed and used at that time was it was applied to people who lived outside the castle walls, that did not live under the thumb of the ruler, that grew their own herbs and grew their own gardens and lived their own lives and manifested their own destiny. That's the definition of the word weird. You're a weirdo.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And you look very good in the sage green.
Oh, thank you.
Such a great color for you. Not for nothing. I just have to say, because Bill's telling us we have 5 minutes, and I am not going off this show without telling you how beautiful, how radiant you look tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. You look very radiant. Look at you. You're just glowing. I know the other day you told me you weren't feeling well, but you sure have overcome it. I can tell you, I can see it all over you. And I do. I send so much love and energy your way. You are the reason why I'm able to remote view like I'm doing now. I'm meeting galactic family. I'm actually interacting with beings. And I just, there's just so much. Me and you would be talking forever. There could be a big book written about all of this. Everybody here has got some gift. They've got things to give to this world.
Yeah, everyone.
And
we're all here for a reason right now at this pivotal time in human evolution. And we are on the precipice. We are. And, Bill was right. He gave me a little bit of a lecture on Wednesday morning when I was in the depths of despair about world events. And he's just like, if you're not going to do it, who's going to do it? You have a job to do here.
You see this? This is a million hearts going, please don't stop. Don't stop.
Well, I can't because he wouldn't let me. And he's the boss of me when it comes to these shows. So I was like, all right. Okay, fine. There he is. Oh, yeah, huh? Uh-huh.
Oh, my goodness.
Nope, no way. And I think everybody in chat, and I know Laura does, agrees. No way. Voices need to be heard. Your voice needs to be heard. The whole power of positive needs to be out there. Yeah. People need hope and inspiration. And that's just my whole take on it. That's it. That's it. We have 1 minute.
Well, all I can say is that, both of you have functioned in my life at a time of, for lack of a better word, crisis. Now, 3 weeks after my mother departs this earth, and I get a death sentence that I refuse to accept. I refuse to accept it. And so it took me a while, at least a few days I had to process it first. And then to tell everybody. And Laura, you were one of the very first people that reached out to me personally. And I will always be grateful. I will always be grateful that you have invested so much of your time and your energy into my personal healing.
You're everything. You deserve it. And
prayer is very powerful. Prayer is meditation.
It is.
And it is very powerful. And when we harness that energy and we literally project it to a certain individual, it works. I went within 3 months from, metastatic breast cancer is a nasty bastard. And it just ran all through my body and my bones and, vital organs. It's just been a thing. It's a thing. First PET scan, 13 tumors. Second PET scan, that just in my lungs. Those were just in my lungs. Second PET scan, half of one tumor left. And my next PET scan is March 10th. I'll keep you posted. I'm expecting some wonderful things.
There will be. There will be.
I hope so too. And I thank you for coming on the show tonight. You are a precious treasure in my life, a joy in my life. And I appreciate you more than I can find the words to express.
Thank you so much. No, thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. And I love you so much. And I'm so grateful for all that you do. Keep it up, girl, because you are a Viking warrior.
I am. Actually, that's in my DNA.
I believe it.
Mitochondrial DNA, a Viking queen. Yep, my mother was one of 9 left on the planet when we had her DNA done. Yep. So with that, Bill's throwing us off the air because I don't know. I guess he's got another show to do or something. I don't know. But I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you all for tuning in tonight, for listening. I send my love and my devotion and my gratitude for all of your prayers and for lifting me up. And with that, I will remind you always, always to be the beacon of hope for someone else, to be the change you wish to see in the world, and to be the light you seek. Thank you and good night.
Much love.